This episode of What's the Story podcast is brought to you by Manscaped, the best in men's below-the-waist grooming, trusted by over 2 million men worldwide, including yours truly and my immaculately groomed co-host Graham Merrigan. Now, if you're in the market for some beautiful town halls, we have an exclusive offer just for our listeners. 20% off and free shipping when you go to manscaped.com and use the code WTSPOD at checkout. And that's available worldwide. So if you're in Ireland, the UK, the US, Europe, Canada, Australia, doesn't matter. Use WTSPOD at checkout. You'll get that discount and that free shipping. Now, we've been banging on about Manscaped for a good while in this podcast, so I'm going to assume a lot of you out there are already using the good old Lawnmower 3.0, their third generation trimmer that features a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce those grooming accidents like nicks and tugs and scratches and all the things you get with lesser blades. I'm going to assume you're already benefiting from that advanced skin safe technology that Manscaped have. I'm also going to assume that your nasal hair and ear hair are completely under control, that they get regular trimmages thanks to the weed whacker. I'm going to make that assumption. What I'm here today to tell you about, lads, is Manscaped's brand new peak hygiene plan. It's a cracking little package. That's what the ladies will say when you use the lawnmower, what? Anyway, it's a great little plan. And it's a membership and it's a members portal that allow you mix and match and tweak and pick, and you can do all those things with all the different Manscaped products that you want and love. So rather you want some ball deodorant, rather you want some replacement blades, rather you want some foot deodorant, rather you want a bit of ball toner, rather you want an old crop mop, the old ball wipe, you can mix and match, you can pick whatever you want, you get it sent to you straight to your door, hassle free, so that your town hall hygiene is always going to pass inspection. You want more though? You want more good news about it? I mean, they give you a free gift. Yeah, that's right. You're not just getting discount with our code. You're not just getting great balls. You're not just getting clean and fresh and looked after. You're also getting a free gift every time. Isn't that good, huh? So your replenishment pack always comes with something a little bit extra to put a smile on your face. Go to manscaped.com. Use the code WTSPOD at checkout. You get 20% off and free shipping. That's 20% off and free shipping by going to manscaped.com and using the code WTSPOD. Put handsome on autopilot with the new peak hygiene plan from Manscaped. Hello everybody and welcome to WTS 229, WTS 229. My name is Danny Murray.
My name is Graham Merrigan. Thank you.
Alright, how are you doing, Merrill?
Yeah, good, not too bad. How are you?
Yeah, man, yeah. It feels like a long week this week. I feel like it's a week that's about 14 days long.
Yeah, it's mad though, it doesn't. January fucking snails along, February pisses by, and before you know it, it's March.
Yeah, I know.
And that happens every year.
It's mad, like that's it, like Paddy's Day. Well, not that, it'll matter, but I just look at Paddy's Day as a day off. That's why I'm like, oh, Paddy's Day.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, yeah. I'm all good though. I'm a bit tired, just want the week to be over. I'm looking forward to a mid-afternoon nap at the weekend kind of thing. By the time this goes out, I will have had at least 2 naps,
Yeah, deadly.
But yeah, man, just need to say a quick thank you. A lot of people got in touch with us after our episode with Luke O'Neill last week. So thanks to me for that, lads, and thanks to people who sent in questions and all that. Luke was an absolute gentleman, and we're more than happy that we were able to, in some way, help people have a better understanding about vaccines. It's not often we get to do a public service on this podcast, so we'll take that. But yeah, a lot of people reached out to say that was great, lads. Thanks to me, and I feel a lot better about this, and that's good, all things considered.
Absolutely, I was blown away by the messages that we got by that and the great feedback. So I was also delighted not to get any messages from, like, as in bad messages from anti-vaxxers, because my experience with them can be a bit relentless, and I didn't want to have to do that. I probably would have ignored anyway, but still.
Yeah, they're a tough crowd, and I think anyone who seen the protests in Dublin there last week, yeah, I don't know. Between seeing those crowds in Dublin and then that party down in Limerick, down at the university in Limerick, I'm scratching my head. I'm kind of like, I know everyone has fatigue. I know everyone's kind of sick of lockdowns and sick of all that kind of stuff. But I mean, 6 more months, and there's light at the end of the tunnel, lads. I just keep saying to myself that, like, it's worth it because everyone will be around the table next Christmas, and that's what I have my eye on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, look, yeah, that was that week. This week we're back to talking about things we're more comfortable with and that we have a little bit more knowledge about, albeit not that fucking much, quite frankly. We're talking about we're talking about football, and the new season of the League of Ireland is kicking off this week. So we got in touch with a friend of the podcast and a man who has no problem putting Mero in his place, which is always a great thing to have. So Mero, what are we doing with the guest this week?
We are going to be speaking to former FAI Cup winner and former League of Ireland league winner, Sporting Fingal. I would say Fingal. Sporting Fingal, Shelbourne, St Patrick's Athletic, and Corrin Glenavon player in the occupied 6th League. We're talking to Conan Byrne. So now joining us, as I said, is League of Ireland legend Conan Byrne. How are you, Conan? Do you like the legend part of that introduction?
Oh, gee, I was just about to pull you up on that. Like, I don't know if that could be associated with myself. But
why not?
I'll take it.
You've won the league.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, I'll take it. Like, no problem. But yeah, it's nice. I never thought I'd be called a League of Ireland legend when I started off all those years ago. So for people to say it, it's really nice. But yeah, I'm kind of still feel a bit cringy, and when people do say it, though,
too modest.
I don't know, but no, I'll take it though. Take it.
Yeah. Well, you won the league, so.
Yeah, won the league. He's 2013. Yeah, but I probably
competed in Europe loads of times.
Yeah, I think the big success though was the cup, though, wasn't it? With Pats given the 53 years and all that. I think that was the big one. I think that's what I suppose that whole group of players will be remembered by. Was winning that title. But yeah, it's nice. As I said, it's nice to have been successful, because as I've said numerous times, I was an average player growing up. I was played, and no disrespect, I played in the North Dublin Schoolboy League. I started off in the D League at 8s and 9s, and then my dad took over the team and done wonders for me and brought us to the A League and played there up until 16. And so it was never like, I never played international football at underage, nowhere near it, like never even trial, nothing. So
yeah,
for that then to just, you can just imagine how happy I was to even play a League of Ireland game, never mind have the career that I had. So yeah, I'm chuffed with anything that's thrown at me.
So what age were you when you thought or when you realised, right, I'm going to be a League of Ireland player? Was that quite late on? Because as you said there, you weren't a player that got trials like a lot of the League of Ireland players that went to England on trial or else came back, it didn't work out, or even underage international caps. So you were quite under the radar. So
yeah,
like, when did you realise, right, I'm going to be a League of Ireland player? Was it ever? Did you ever want to be?
Yeah, I always wanted to be a footballer. I think I went around my estate with a ball at my feet, no matter where I went. I went to school, brought the football with me, hit it in the bush, and then when I was going home, I took it out of the bush and brought it home with me. I was that type of kid that just had the football everywhere. But whatever it was, I just didn't. I just wanted to play with my mates as a kid. I never had that drive to go and play for Belvedere or Cherry Orchard or whoever, even though they did come calling, but I just never went. And yeah, so I was pretty much under the radar. I did go and try out to Millwall when I was 15, 16. That didn't work out. And then I kind of gave up football then at around 17, 18. I went to play for River Valley, my local team. I absolutely loved it. And that's where I really started playing really, really well. I went out on the right side of midfield out there. But at the same time, I was in UCD. And I just started in UCD, and my dad came home one day with a scholarship form and said, why don't you apply for a scholarship? You're there anyway. Why don't you just try and get get the scholarship? It would be great for your CV. That's what I was thinking of. I wasn't thinking about football. I was thinking about the CV of having a scholarship. And went for it and got it. And then like within 4 months of that, then I was played me first game against Longford Town in the old Belfield Park, and the next game was a League Cup final. So I was thrown into it. Like, yeah, thrown into it. And so yeah, like I started because I was so late to the League of Ireland that I never thought I'd followed Shells back when I was a kid, back when like 8, 9, 10, 11. Then League of Ireland, I didn't really follow the League of Ireland in my teens at all. So then when I was playing against players that everybody would say that they're unbelievable, like looks like Kevin Hunt, Joey and Doe, I was like, who?
Really?
You know? Whereas now I'm like raging that I didn't have that, that I didn't know them then to be able to. Yeah, exactly, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, I was very late to it, very late. I'm very much underrated. That's why I say to anybody I talk to now, it doesn't matter what level you're at, if you're good enough, people will see you. Like,
yeah. And would you have played like the Kennedy Cup or any of them, or?
Yeah, I did play the Kennedy. We finished third for the NDSL. Finished third. Cork bet us. Jeez, I remember that we Cork bet us, and then the DDSL bet Cork in the final. But yeah, I did play representative for the NDSL. Yeah, but again, I was in and out of that team. I was never a standout player anywhere I went. You know, but yeah, it's just the way it goes, doesn't it? Like I never gave up. I think, and even on the pitch, I think that was a trait of mine, that I always worked hard and never gave in. I was first out on the training pitch. I was last in. I was that type of player. Like all those cliches, that's me. Like the cliche type of footballer. Yeah.
What was it like at Sporting Fingal?
Sporting Fingal was brilliant, Graham. It was just, and I think at the time I was with UCD, and then Liam approached me to go and play in the A Championship. And if UCD at the time were a Premier Division club, so I was dropping down two leagues to a league that I wouldn't have been heard of. And that was I was taking that, I suppose, that jump because I was playing for my local team, and I saw the ambitious plans that were put forward, and the new stadium, the community aspect to it. The extra job helped, of course, that I was offered as well. And yeah, it was just, and from day one, I absolutely loved it. I really did. I never saw it ending the way it did. Just with all the people that were a part of it, the stakeholders, the businessmen that were involved in the club as well. I never saw it coming to an end. And when it did, Jesus, I'll be honest, it really, really hit me hard. Like, and I suffered on the pitch because of it. Like, for about a year afterwards, yeah, I wasn't the same player. Definitely wasn't the same player. And yeah, I was, thankfully Shelburne and Alan Matthews like looked after me, and we did get Shelburne promoted that season, and but yeah, it did hurt really, really badly. And like, even I was saying, like, at the time, like the FAI Cup medal that we won at Fingal, I was like, it doesn't mean anything. The club's gone now. Yeah. But now looking back at it, I'm like, look, it was a great thing. People are still talking about the club, and even now the 10-year anniversary of that. I think it was of the cup win. No, it wasn't. It was of the European campaign, and its demise. It was just, I can't believe it's 10 years ago.
Sporting Fingal had some proper, like we're saying a minute ago, like League of Ireland legends that trotted out them as well, didn't they? Like,
yeah,
some of the names, like they're who's who, like.
Yeah,
Glenn Crowe was another one, wasn't he?
Yeah, Glenn Crowe, Eamon Zoid, who went on to do unbelievable things, and even at the time he was sorry.
Super Ronan Finn,
yeah. Greg Bulger was there as well. Greg was only signed in the January, and then we went in the February, so we didn't really get much game time. Greg, Sean Williams went on to win a couple of caps for Ireland. He was probably the best player that I ever played with. He was outstanding. And then we had like Stephen Paisley, Sean Marr, Colin Hawkins. Like we had brilliant players, really, really brilliant players, and they brought me on as well because I was only a young fella, and yeah, it was just a pleasure to play with. I remember being in the dressing room and looking around at the time, the likes of Glenn Crowe and Gary O'Neill, Eamon Zoid, and yeah, it was just, yeah, I was in awe.
Mad that way when Eamon Zoid went to Iran and he came off the bench and scored a hat-trick in front of 100,000 people.
That was mental. It was
mental, wasn't it?
Perspolis, wasn't it, or something?
Yeah.
But he, coming off the bench against your local rivals and 2-0 down man down and scoring 3 goals to win the
Unbelievable.
even on his Twitter page, like every now and then he retweets some Arabic that somebody has sent him, and it's from that game. So people are still talking about it like a decade later. It's brilliant. It really is.
I always admired Eamon as a player, and when he came to Rovers, I was like, oh, jeez, we have a prolific goal scorer here. So I was absolutely raging it didn't work out when he came to Rovers. There was a couple of players that came to Rovers in that era where I'm gutted it didn't work out. Like Mark Quigley, it didn't really work out. Eamon Zayed. Killian, how many times was he with Rovers? Like,
I know. I heard he was voted one of the worst players ever to play for the club.
Yeah. Well, the fans hated his attitude. Like, yeah. And he was prolific before he came to Rovers in that Pats team.
Yeah, but Killian was, and I'd more remember Killian playing for Rovers before he came to Pats, and he signed for Pats the same day I did. So he took all the shine off my signing, and I was raging for him for that. But I remember at the time going, that's a big gamble, because he was really struggled in that Rovers team, and then he ended up getting Player of the Year because I think Liam had a way of handling Killian, and Killian is the type of player that he'd go over to one side of the pitch and he'd speak to Bermo on the left side position. He goes, Conan over there, he's having the worst game ever. He is crap. He has to be taken off. Then he'd come over to me a couple of minutes later, Bermo, he's having the worst game of his life over in that wing. You just had to handle him. You just really had that way of being able to handle players, and he had to do that with Killian, and then Killian just shone on the pitch. Then
was this Killian Holmes? Was it?
Killian Brennan.
Killian Brennan.
Brennan. This is where my lack of knowledge of League of Ireland clearly shows.
Liam did have that though, didn't he? He had a good rapport with players and got the best out of them. I always love actually the joke Pajo pulled on Liam Buckley when he was on the bench. He had a joke with someone betted him on the bench to take the tracksuit off and start doing your stretches beside Liam, and he did it. And Liam was like, "What are you doing, Paj?" He's like, "He called me to come on." He's like, "No, he didn't." And he's like, "You told me to come on. I'm coming on." I never went on.
Liam, like, I think everyone knows that I have an incredibly soft spot for Liam. I think
a lot of players do though, don't they, Conan?
Yeah, I think so, Graham. But then a lot of people don't as well. A lot of people would say that Liam wasn't a great man manager, but they're the players that didn't play him, or that Liam didn't play. And obviously, you're going to get that everywhere. You know, you're not going to make everybody happy. And but Liam, I remember when I signed, he went, and you hear this about managers nowadays, where they bring you up and they won't even talk to you about football for the first 5-10 minutes of trying to sign you. Liam did that for me back in 2007 when I signed for Fingal. He never once spoke to me about football. He goes, "Conan, I'll be honest with you, I've never seen you play." I said, "I'm only getting into management myself, so I haven't looked at you with a critical eye." I'll never forget it. That's the way he said it. "I've never seen you with a critical eye. So I'm going on what people have said about you, and I sign players for personality, so I want to get to know you." And from then on, I was like, well, fair play. And we've kept in touch. Like he left Pats in 2018, and we've kept in touch. I was only speaking to him 2 days ago, you know. So that's and I really like that the way that we can, that even though, like I always say, like I could count on one hand the players that I've kept in contact with since leaving any club, do you know? But Liam will be top of the people that I do keep in contact with.
It's mad because he offered Pajo to stay an extra year despite not playing much of him, and just because he wanted him around the dressing room.
Oh, 100%, yeah. Liam loved that. Liam loved people good in the dressing room. And Pajo would have been perfect, wouldn't he? And I never got to play with Pajo, which is it is a big shame, because I've heard so many stories, so many good stories about him, and I got to work with him at the PFAI camp a couple of years ago, and even that short spell, about a couple of training sessions, I was like, jeez, I would have loved to have been in a dressing room with this fella. But
he's a bit of a nut job.
Yeah, never got the opportunity. Hope he
doesn't
watch.
You know the way. No, fuck him. Sporting Fingal. Okay, so do you think part of that didn't work? Is Danny gone?
Oh, still here.
Do you think a part of that didn't work because there's a saturation of Dublin teams? And the reason I ask you that is because recently we had another Dublin County kind of team looking for a license into the first division. So, like, I'm very much of the type that would say the more the merrier in finding in this year. But if Bowser to get a second team, Dundalk to get a second team, Pats to get a second team, I'd be like, of course, the more games, the merrier for that division. Like, do you think more Dublin clubs, it's a saturation, and is that what part of the reason why Sporting Fingal didn't work? Bingo.
It's a good question, Mero, and I don't think so. And the reason why I say it is because Fingal had a population 10 years ago. I don't know what it is now. It was of over 250,000 people, with no League of Ireland club attached to that area. The attendances at the start obviously weren't great, but looking back on it now, there was, I think in our first game there was 1,200, and then from then on, I think 500, 600 people were at every home game, which isn't bad for a new team in League of Ireland football terms. By the time we got to the Premier Division, we were at 1,000 per week, and that wasn't that's for 3 years in existence. I think any League of Ireland club nearly would take that. Like, take Treaty United, for instance. Limerick is a huge soccer county and city. I think they'd be absolutely chuffed with 1,000 people going to their games in 3 years' time. So I don't think it was in terms of a saturation. The real downfall was NAMA. That was the main downfall. It hit the club really, really quickly. Jerry Gannon unfortunately had to withdraw his funds, which were huge. Look, no denying that he was putting in an awful amount of money. But I think because of that, then it was very, very difficult to find an investor to come in at such short notice. I think, and the club and John O'Brien, the club secretary at the time, and Liam even went as far as Malta to try and get an investor in last minute. I think if they had had another 2 or 3 weeks, I think the club would have been saved.
Right.
And if they had been saved, I think you'd be talking about Sporting Fingal now as like I'd have no doubt saying that they're one of the most dominant forces in the country, and it's just because of the amount of financial backing that they had, the amount of the players that they had signed, going into that season in 2011. We were, like, 2010 was our first season in the Premier Division, and we were 5 points off Rovers. And yeah, Rovers obviously, table never lies, they deserve to win, but we threw it away in the summer. We played in Europe against Maritimo, and Liam dropped 10 out of 10 of first team players to try and win that game against Maritimo. And ultimately then that cost us. We got beaten by Drogheda, who were bottom of the league, 3-1 at home. And then we had a bit of a poor run of results after that European adventure, so to speak. So I think we would have gone very, very close if we hadn't have had those European games. And then as I said, we signed some very, very good players going into that 2011 season. And yeah, I think I'd be more like yourself, Graham. I think the more the merrier. But there needs to be a solid foundation and solid backing before clubs start to enter the League of Ireland, in my opinion, at the moment. You know?
So what do you think about the Rovers 2 team that's not allowed can be in the league this season? Having been granted a license, but just not an invitation to play.
Yeah, I feel that they're hard done by in certain ways. Obviously, with the players now that they had kept for that Shamrock Rovers, for the second team. I don't like calling it a second team though. You know what I mean. But
Shamrock Rovers 2, yeah.
Yeah, Shamrock Rovers 2. But like, I feel sorry for the players more so than anything else, because they could have went out on loan to other clubs and got valuable first team experience there, be it a Premier Division or First Division. And now that I don't know, that opportunity for them is gone now, because clubs have already brought in players for those positions. So they've left that in limbo. But at the same time now, I think it's brilliant for the league that Treaty are in it. I think having soccer back in Limerick was absolutely vital. And
why not have the two of them in it though?
Yeah, there's no reason why we couldn't have had 12 possibly, yeah. And have another second, Bowes 2, or because I'm sure Pat's 2, because there's certainly enough players for that to happen.
That's what I mean, because currently there's nowhere to go for those players. Like, in terms of, and I know how you spoke about it previously with yourself and Con on the podcast about there's a huge gap between the under-19s league and the first team. So I mean, without an option of a reserve league as such, and the FAI denying players kind of pathway to development in terms of allowing Rovers to, and any other team that wants a second team in the first division. Do you know what else is there? There is no option, because like you said, you feel sorry for the players that could have went out on loan. Let's not forget, the decision is made 2 weeks before the transfer window's closed. There's not enough time to do business, not enough time to sign players, not enough time to let players go out on loan. Why isn't the licensing process done like in November, December for the next season?
Clubs don't have those facilities to have it ready in time. Would be my answer to that. I think I've said it numerous amount of times that I think there is a bit of a gap between under-19 football, and senior football. I can remember playing under-21s, and even that, you were allowed to play 3 first-team players in your under-21s that were coming back from injury. And coming up against Conan Byrne, I'll always recall it, him left back, coming back from injury. That 90 minutes was probably one of the hardest 90 minutes I've ever had. But it taught me so much, and coming up against an experienced pro like that, even now, look, I'm talking to you about it now, so obviously it still hasn't left my mind.
Yeah.
And I think the gap is particularly big in terms of quality. There is some players that are capable of going from 19s football straight to first team, but the majority aren't. They need another year or two to develop physically, but more importantly mentally, because if they go up into a first team game, and the mental side of the game now is absolutely huge, and if they go up and have a poor couple of games, not played for the next couple of weeks, their heads are gone. And I think that's a major issue that we need to address. And I don't know how we're going to do that. Whether we bring back in a 21 league, do we change it up a little bit? But I just think the gap is too much between 19s and senior football in this country. And yeah, it would have been nice for the likes of Shamrock Rovers to bed those young players into the league. We saw the likes of Kevin Zeffy, who came in last season, who done extremely well. Got his move to Inter Milan. I think that's gone.
No, he hasn't.
Now, hasn't it? Hasn't gone through.
No, he's still with us. He's with us until July.
But yeah, the talent is there, and like at 15, 16 years of age, 14 at some people, it's frightening how young players can achieve big things now at such a young age, and just disappointing maybe that the players couldn't have been or the club might have been told out a little earlier than 2 weeks, as you said.
We'll be right back to our guest, but first we got to take a quick word from our good friends at Manscaped. We've got good news. They've just launched their peak hygiene plan. Now, this is a little membership portal, lads, and allows you to mix and match all your favourite Manscaped products. And I'm telling you, you want to get in on this, because it's going to give you the most hygienic testes in town. Your town halls are going to be superb with this package, alright? So what it allows you to do is to tweak and select all the products that you want. They get shipped to your door directly, hassle-free. You can build a combo any way you want, so you can get a little bit of ball deodorant, a little bit of foot spray, some ball wipes. It allows you to do all of that, and your membership price will stay the same. You even get a free gift sent to you every month. This month, the free gift is foot dust or foot deodorant. Massively important. Nothing worse than coming home from a long day, cracking off the Air Jordan, the smell rises up, hits you in the face, your eyes start to water, the paint starts to peel, your neighbour has to open a window, the dog has ran away from you, your missus is shouting at you, what is wrong with you, did something die in your shoe? None of that will happen when you use this stuff, right? And you get it for free when you subscribe this month. Peak Hygiene Plan from Manscaped. Head on over manscaped.com, use the code WTSPOD, you'll get 20% off and free shipping. Now, back to our guest.
Do you think, lads, and I'll ask both of you this one, do you think overall things are taking a turn for the better, I suppose, in terms of like, and again, I'm completely casual other than, you know, when it comes to Bows, obviously I love Bows, diehard Bows fan and all that kind of thing, but the league in general, obviously. Graham, were you smiling at that? Graham, were you smiling at that, Graham? Please, I'll ask you that question first. Bows, the die and all that, but look, Jonathan Hill has been coming out and kind of talking a big game. Kind of sponsors back on board with this season with SC Electricity. They're doing the Women's League as well. A lot of talk going on around that. Is there signs that things are taking a good turn, or is stuff like this going to be at the forefront of most of the fans' minds as well?
Oh, well, I take that one.
Well, I'm asking both of you, but yeah, don't trip over yourselves there, lads. You know.
No, I think I'll be honest with you now, and you might say, oh, the podcast was an FAI podcast, and you're just saying it for the sake. But I think the FAI have come in for an awful lot of criticism over the last number of years. Yes, they could have done an awful lot of stuff better, and I'm sure they would have if they had a different CEO in charge. But since Jonathan has come in, and before him, even with the likes of Niall, and what the previous board did during that time, I think that with the watch, LOI was really, really popular. Bringing the Women's National League forward as well was absolutely critical. And it was absolutely fantastic move. So I think we have to give the FEI a little bit of time to change. And
transition.
It's easy for I think so. I think it's easy for us to point the finger, isn't it? And I've always said, if you go back over the years of what I said, I've always said clubs should be doing more. And some of them are doing absolutely fantastic work. And your club there, Bows, Danny, are doing great work. Like they announced today about their another 200 new members, bringing the club over to 1,000 members. That's frightening, you know, in this, especially during these times. And credit has to go to them for the amount of work that they put in. And there's other clubs that are doing similar work in the community. And I think getting into the community, into the heart of the communities is vital. And it's not all just about, I remember being a Fingal and I was marketing executive, and then I went into the community development manager. And I was only 23, 24, and I was telling the board, who are like businessmen, I was like, It's not just about getting bums on seats. It's not just about that. It's about getting into the heart of the communities and telling people who Sporting Fingal are. You can't just expect people just to come in because there's a football club playing up the road, League of Ireland football. They'll never. So what? There's a League of Ireland club 10 minutes in the road. They can do that too. It's about doing things for the community. And I think clubs can do that an awful lot more than they are. Like, I know, like the likes of, I'll say Bows, Cork are doing a lot of work. Pats with the food bank that they did during the pandemic was massive. And I know other clubs are doing a lot as well. But I really do think that the clubs should be doing more and using their players. Like, there's a lot of talk of the FAI don't promote League of Ireland players. Clubs don't promote their players enough either. You know, they don't go into and you never like send them off. Like a Fingal, I was told to write in the players' contracts, they had 8 hours of community service to do over the course of their contracts. So 8 hours, it mightn't be much, but multiply 24 players by 8 hours, you're getting a lot of player time there. So I was using them for schools, trophy presentations, like marketing events, heading to the pavilions and Swords to do silly things. But it's just showing people what Sporting Fingal is all about, and clubs should be doing that too.
Myrno, as a fan, what's your take on it? Are you optimistic at all, or like even Colin said there about the whole, you know, the streaming services back? That as a fan, you must be happy with that, given the situation, at least. Like,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Given the situation we're in, I'm delighted that I have access to watch the games when I want. Like the app or there is no app; it's a website. So if they had an app and you could cast it, those little things, cosmetic things, I'd only complain about. But no, I'm delighted with it. Now, just in relation to you bringing up Jonathan Conan saying, "Look, we have to give them a time of transition." I was disappointed this week to see that we're bidding for a World Cup bid in 2030. In terms of the bid itself, I think it's ridiculous just given the competition. Like the
It's very important.
FIFA love a romantic story, and it's 100 years since Uruguay hosted the first World Cup, and they're going for it again with the 100 years, as the backdrop of their story. And I just don't think it's a worthwhile exercise. And the reason I bring that up is because I travel home and away for Rovers matches, and sometimes in away grounds, I can't even use it. I can't go to the toilet because there's no wheelchair toilets. And it's kind of like, is this the FAI putting the money into a bid for hosting it, or is this the government? Either or. I mean, help the clubs, work with the clubs to get grounds more accessible. Like I'm going mad. Cork were relegated this year because their wheelchair accessibility is amazing for away supporters. I mean, it's one of the best grounds in the country. Unfortunately, Pats didn't get relegated, but they're a great away. They're great away ground as well for wheelchair accessibility. But in terms of that was I just wanted to get chest in terms of Jonathan Hill and the FEI. I hope it's a good transition. I hope it does work out. I hope we do. I hope we do see less yes men. But I was very unsettled about the announcement. That wasn't a new announcement. We knew that from about 2018 that they were going to launch a bid with the UK.
I was going to say that, and not to evoke memories or anything like that, or gimmick infringement on Mark Huygen and the lads, but is there a hint of the champagne football when really and truthfully there's a Dutch goal budget on the go with that?
Yeah, I think like Jonathan Hill didn't have those decisions to make about the 2030 bid, so he's only just come in the last couple of months. So I'd be interested to hear how he feels about this bid. Now, I know Jack Chambers is putting a lot of things out there from the government side of things, but yeah, until I hear from Jonathan and see what he has to say about it, there's not too much comment that we can make about it really from the FAI's perspective anyway.
Yeah. Looking to the new season, Conan, what I've observed and what I think is a good thing is that a lot of clubs seem to be signing players on loan from English academies or the players that aren't getting in the first team. We've seen the Liverpool fourth choice keeper come to Pats. We've seen Joe Hodge from Man City in Ireland underage going to Derry City. We've seen Harry Halleck go to Cabinteely from Derby. There's quite a few, isn't there? And then Waterford have signed a good few as well.
They have. And I'd be, you're optimistic. I'd nearly go the other way.
Okay.
Just remember Cork last year, they signed about 6 or 7 players from the English academies, and they had absolute stinkers, a lot of them. And and really struggled. And for the last number of years, clubs that have brought in players from the English academies, it's as if they come, I don't know, and I'm probably wrong, it's as if they come over thinking that it's going to be just a cushy number, going to play every week, go back to me club, and then happy days. But you and I both, we all know, League of Ireland doesn't work that way. You can be found out very, very easily. And it's just, it's like, I prefer clubs signing players from first team squads overseas that have a point to prove, that are like, right, I want to get my career back on track here, or go one better. The likes of Shamrock Rovers, likes of Dundalk, they're going to be playing European football every single season. I want a bit of that. I'm playing maybe mid-table with a Serbian league or in the Bosnian league or whatever, but I want to play European football every week or every year, so I'm going to go over to Ireland and play over there. And I think Dundalk, they're going to be no one can call what Dundalk are going to be like this year with the signings that they've made. Are they going to be good enough? Their scouting system, like, it's either going to go that way or that way, up or down. And yeah, I just don't know what way to take it. So going back to your initial statement about the English Academy players, I'd love more players to come over here and say, look, I need to do well over in Ireland for me to prosper back in the UK. And I don't think enough of them have done that.
Yeah. Who in terms of the new season ahead, then who do you see it's going to the 1 and 2 Rovers and Dundalk, or do you see? I know Bowes finished second last season, but
Yeah.
do you see Bowes lost quite a few good players as well?
Yeah.
And Keelong does have a good record of rebuilding. But how do you see the league going this season? Like, do you see a foregone conclusion that Rovers are going to win it? Like, we lost Aaron McAniff and Jack Byrne, and Reece Marshall, who was a great player as well.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the first time in a long time, Merrill, that I'm struggling to see who's going to walk the league. Okay, every year there's going to be somebody that says, right, somebody's just going to just take over here and run away with it. And it's the first time I've been saying, I don't know. Jack Byrne has been immense for Shamrock Rovers and for the league over the last number of years. His loss is going to be absolutely huge, and they're saying that Danny Mandroy was going to be his replacement. Being totally honest, I don't even think he could replace Aaron McAniff. So I think it's going to, the Shamrock Rovers, that midfield are going to really, really struggle. If Stephen Bradley, and he is well capable of doing it, he did it with Jack, if he can get Danny's attitude right, I think that Shamrock Rovers will win the league. But it all comes down to that. Yeah.
I was going to say, and with Richie Tell to come in July.
And Richie to come in as well. And Richie's going to come back here, and he's not going to be like, as I say, those academy players that are coming over here and just think that it's going to be an easy ride. He knows what it takes. He's going to want to come back here and do better than he did the last time to prove that it wasn't just a once-off. And he's going to come back here at all guns blazing. He's planning his move now. He won't be planning it a week, 2 weeks before he comes home. He's thinking ahead. He's planning on that, on coming home to Shamrock Rovers and be fighting fit from as soon as he pulls on the jersey. So he'll be a huge signing as well. I still don't think that either of them are on the same level as Jack and Aaron. But Richie's form in this league has been nothing short of remarkable. And if he comes even close to that with Shamrock Rovers, they have signed us. They have done really, really well with that signing. I'm very, very interested in how Bowes will get on. They lost their main man, Andre Wright. He was fantastic last year.
Danny Grant gone as well.
Danny Grant was their main
huge loss.
Star. Yeah, a huge loss. I spoke about him so many times. I think he's been absolutely superb ever since he got his first game at the club, again, the Leinster Senior Cup game against Cabinteely back in, I think it was 2017. I remember being at that game. I went to Liam actually as Pat's manager and I said, do you want to sign the player that's going to replace me? That's what I said to him the next day of training. And obviously he didn't. But that's how, just in that game, I knew that he was going to be a star. Just his movement, his pace, his directness, he was just so good. But yeah, they're going to be a huge loss, and it's going to be interesting to see how they adapt. But as you said, he's done very, very well so far with rebuilding his squads over the last number of years, and holding on to some key players as well has been great for them.
Drogheda and Longford coming up, Conan. Do you think they'll survive, or will they? Because both of them have strengthened.
Yeah, I think Drogheda have strengthened more so.
They have. Definitely.
I think the signing of Dinny Corcoran has been really, really good. Ronan Murray as well has gone, and we all know his what he is capable of. Might not have shown it as much as he may have wanted himself, but he is a fantastic player, fantastic finisher, and he'll create a lot of chances. Then at the back they're strong. The likes of Hughie Douglas. I think him personally would like another crack at Premier Division football. Signing Dane Massey from Dundalk has been has been huge for experience in the dressing room. And also Deegan as well going in, bringing that bit of leadership and experience to the team. Now, I do think he needs to kind of calm down a little bit on his kind of, you might see his role as a senior pro in the dressing room. And I don't think it worked out as well as it should have at Shelbourne. I think it kind of all crumbled in the end in terms of how he dealt with things. So I'm sure he learned from that, and I'm sure that he's going in there under the direction of Tim and Kev, and he could be a great signing for Drogheda if he handles the dressing room well.
Speaking of Shells, Conan, I was absolutely mystified at how they got relegated last season, and I just based that on their performance before the break, the kind of I suppose the lockdown. I thought, now you were with them the year before, but I thought Ian Morris had assembled a great squad of players on paper, and to this day I don't know why they didn't gel, or because they shouldn't have went down.
They couldn't score goals.
Yeah,
I think that was their main
problem.
problem.
Kieran Kilduff, and it's crazy.
Yeah, they had Killer, and they had Jays Cavia, they had Aaron Dobbs, but you see, with take Killer out of it, I think their attacking players probably only had maybe 20 senior goals between them. So you're relying on Kilduff for all the goals, and it didn't work out. You know, Killer will probably admit himself he probably didn't have his best season. Like a lot of the players that were there at Shelbourne, they had zero, and I mean zero, creativity. And like seeing the games, I think they scored more than half their goals came from set pieces. Ryan Brennan was their top scorer, and he scored all the goals from set pieces. And he's, I think they really struggled. And then their form in the last 6 or 7 games just absolutely dipped completely. You know, and
shocking.
It was really bad, and they were never getting out of it because their form was so bad. You know, and it was it's hard because, like, it's mad. I went to Shells back in 2011, promoted, and then they got relegated. Went back to them then in 2019, promoted, and the next year they got relegated again. So I was expecting a call this season to get them back up again. Never came though. But yeah, I think with the squad that they have this season now, it's stronger than what it was last year in the Premier Division. And if they don't go up, it's absolutely shocking. I'll be honest. If they don't go up, it'll be.
So you would think if the signings that Rovers had, if they gel, you see Rovers winning the league. Who would you see will potentially be relegated from the Premier?
I don't think Longford have strengthened as well as maybe what they should have. They've relied on their players that have come up, and I love that. I absolutely love that. They've rewarded the players that got them promoted. Having said that, they finished 5th, I think, in the first division, 4th or 5th in the first division. And they got promoted out of, and fair play to them, they got promoted out of that. But they haven't really signed as well as I would have liked them to sign. And some of their players may struggle to adapt to Premier Division football. They've never played it before. I'd love to see how young A. Dervin gets on. He was their standout player last year. He was their standout player in the playoffs. He's only 21, 22 years of age. He's going to do really well. Going to do great things, I think. And if he adapts to Premier Division football, look, I think they will. I think they'll struggle. I really do. I think they'll struggle Longford.
So Shells to win the first division then?
Yeah, I think so. I think Shells will win the first division. I think, again, if they don't, there's serious questions need to be asked of the players that are there, because they're signing Premier Division footballers. The likes of Brendan Clark, Michael O'Connor, JJ Lunny, Michael Barker, Luke Byrne. I could go on. They're Premier Division footballers. They shouldn't be in the first division.
Exactly. So, it's crazy.
Yeah. So if they don't get out of there, now obviously Galway have gone full time now under John Caulfield. So they're full time football, training every day with each other. they should be very, very close to Shells. Shells aren't full time.
Yeah.
Galway are.
They were unlucky last year, Galway, weren't they, with the last run of 7 or 8 games?
It was a great run. It was an unbelievable run that they went on. I was raging that now, because you kind of love the underdog, don't you? And I was speaking to John at the bit. I was doing commentary for in that game, and they just didn't show up against Longford. They just did not show up, and it was really, really disappointing, because they were there. Longford were there for the taking that night, and Galway just didn't turn up. But that's what I mean. John's passion for the game and his like bringing in Lisa Fallon was such a shrewd move. I'm really looking forward to seeing how they work together. And I think that's, as I said, going full time, working with John every day, you'll get the best out of those players, and they will run Shelburne close, but Shelburne should have too much.
Whereas if you're putting a charity bet on this, Merrow, who are you going to win the league, to get relegated, and to get promoted?
Yeah. Rovers win the league. I can't argue with Conan's description of Longford as well. But you also have Finn Harps. So I think relegated would be probably between Finn Harps and Longford, and I think Shell should win the league at the first division as well. But I wouldn't be surprised if Galway shocked.
Yeah. No, I think
just based on John Caulfield.
Yeah, and the fact that they're full time. The fact that they're full time, they're going to have that rest in between games and everything. Having said that, first division teams don't play twice a week. They only play the 1 day a week, so they will have their rest.
I wasn't aware that they went full time. That's a huge advantage.
Yeah, that's why some of their players had left. Like to Mark Ludden, he's gone to Treaty now because Galway have gone full time. So yeah, it's a huge advantage to them, absolutely. But as I said, I still think though that with Shell's, there's so many leaders even in that team, and goal scorers, creative players. They shouldn't have a problem. But they haven't started. Look, Shells haven't started. They're trying to play a 3-5-2 formation, and Drogheda bashed them 3-0 there last week, and they didn't. They struggled in their first game too. So, remains to be seen how it goes. But on paper, Shells should win it.
Lovely, Conan. You're very good. I just wanted to ask, you're a teacher as well in your other life. How's that been affecting you in terms of lockdown and COVID? Have you returned to school?
No, I haven't. I'm a third class teacher. So I'm not back for until Monday week. So So I'm still doing remote learning. I do Google Classroom. I do recorded lessons, and I have 2 young girls as well. So I'm teaching them at the same time. So it's been challenging, but look, it's been great to spend the time with the girls at home, because with being a teacher and a footballer, you can imagine how much free time you have. And that guilt can kind of sit with you at times, especially when you're on those long journeys up the M1, saying, could you just sack it up, pack it all in, and just be a father, so it's been really, really nice to be able just to be in the house with them 24/7, and I've really, really enjoyed it.
And have you enjoyed Glenavon?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been Glenavon has been, again, it's been really tough. I signed back last December, and then I got a terrible hip flexor injury that my stupidity decided just to try and play on with, and made things worse for myself. Probably made me look like a terrible footballer as well, because I wasn't playing to my best. Lockdown was brilliant for me. I got really fighting fit. I was flying, absolutely, probably the fittest that I've ever was. And then did my hamstring. Then it's just the end of pre-season. So really, and I've been trying to play catch up ever since. And at 30, I'm 36 this year, so it hasn't been easy. I thought things have changed last night. I was brought on with 20 minutes ago. We were playing. I'll leave you with this. We were playing Carrick United, and we were playing. We were 1-1 when I was brought on with 20 minutes to go. And I was told, right, win us the game. I was like, yeah, no problem. Done this before. I can do this. I can do this. Brought on. Went down the wing, cut inside, saw a foot, went over it. Referee pointed to a penalty. I was like, yes, right, this is it. I have it. 1-1. Now, I didn't miss the penalty. Somebody else missed it. But
Oh, jeez.
I was like, that could have been my moment. I could have been going in the hero saying, I brought him off the bench, won the penalty. But no, wasn't to be. But yeah, Glenavon are a brilliant club, a really, really good club, and have been very, very good to their players over the lockdown, I must say. And yeah, we're doing well this season. We're 7th. We'd like to be a bit higher up, but we're on a great run at the moment, and hopefully that continues till the end of the season.
And do you think Glenavon will be our last club, Conan?
What are you trying to retire me, Graham?
No, I'm just trying to see. Would you welcome a move back to the League of Ireland?
I welcome any moves anywhere.
Lovely.
I've plenty of. I do believe though that I've plenty of years left in me.
That's what I was getting at.
Yeah, whether managers see that, I don't know.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to wait and see.
Lovely. You're a gent. Thanks so much for your time. I enjoyed that. I always enjoy League of Ireland chat.
Yeah, no, I still can't believe that somebody let you down. You have to call me in.
What are you revealing our secrets for, Lloyd?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was your number one target, and I've let you down for the last year, and you needed to get me on.
You've just been so demanding with your demands.
It was the non-compete you had from greatest league in the world.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Absolutely.
You're a gent, Conan. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much.
No, thank you, lads.
Really appreciate it.
Talk to you later.
All the best.
It was a great chat with Conan. Great chat.
Yeah, I'm absolutely raging now because Conan did great work. He did a run last year around to each stadium in the League of Ireland, and I forgot to mention it. And also, I'm raging at myself because I was a recipient of another one of his initiatives where he got former current League of Ireland managers, former current League of Ireland players to ring fans to give them a bit of lift during lockdown. And Stephen Bradley rang me when I was like, what the fuck, are you joking? And that was because of Conan's initiative. So we kind of just ran out of time. I was having Wi-Fi issues as well, and I forgot to bring it up, so apologies. And they were two great initiatives by Conan, and he raised a lot of money for the walk that he done as well.
Yeah, I remember the one around the stadiums, all right, and then obviously you haven't shut up about the time that Shamrock Rovers manager rang you. So yeah,
we've got Bradley Ola. We've got Bradley Ola. Sorry.
No, you're grand. Celebrate it while you can and all that kind of thing. But yeah, it is. Look, it's always nice when you see somebody who gives not just gives back to the league or to the fans or whatever, but a much wider piece in society. Do you know what I mean? Like the whatever about the raising money and everything else, but then doing the bit to kind of give people a little bit of a lift during lockdown. But having ex-players and current players and coaches and everything else ring, like that's a fucking great little initiative. That is. Fair play to everyone involved, but particularly Conan for organising it all. If you want to follow Conan, he's on Twitter at Conan Byrne CB7. There you go. And he's a teacher and all that. It's not like, I mean, actually, now that I think, I'm a little bit disgusted by how nice of a person he is.
Because he's a teacher.
Like he's a teacher, right? He's like, I mean, even when you asked him about how he's getting on in lockdown there, he actually had a really positive message rather than having a whinge like I would have done. You know what I mean? Doing all these things for charity, and he's setting up phone calls to make people feel better during lockdown. Like, Conan, what are you doing, man? Just not just have a moan like the rest of us. Like, come on, Jesus. Now that I think about it, I'm actually disgusted, quite frankly, by his behaviour, and I wish he'd ever just cop on like the rest of us.
That's a great outro, Danny.
Yeah. No, in fairness to him, look, he's lovely bloke. Delighted we got to chat to him, and fair play. Yeah, look, that's everything from this week. So yeah, I suppose, Mero, if people didn't listen to Luke last week or Aoife the week before that, or any of our previous episodes that have preceded this over the 5 years now, 6 years, 6 in June. Jesus Christ, that's not good, is it? Anyway, if people want to listen to those other episodes, where can they do so?
They can search WTS Pod on any podcast provider, Spotify, Stitcher, Apple Podcast, anywhere and everywhere you can get a podcast. You can go to WTSpod.com as well. Also, you can check us out on Twitter at WTS Pod. He's at Danjo Murray on all the social medias. I'm at Merrigamania. And until next week, clear eyes.
Hang on. I've a bone to pick, actually. When we are talking about predictions for the league, why didn't you ask me my prediction?
I just thought it was one of your questions. Sorry.
Would you like to know my predictions?
Yeah, go on.
Obviously, Bows are going to do the double this year, right? Rovers are going to get relegated. And I'm going to say Galway are going to get promoted. I like the fact they've gone full time, but I'm looking forward to Shamrock Rovers in the first division next season.
Better chance of me walking up the Killiney Hill. Search WTS Pod on all podcast providers. Until next week.
Clear eyes.
Full hearts.
Can't lose.
Too sweet.